What is going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the something new. This is a hand cannon from our Solstice event that is in the 120 variety, but is also stasis burn in our kinetic slot. So very slapping hand cannon in my personal opinion, with some very good perks for both PvE as well as PvP. So we're going to cover all of that as well as its origin traits. So first off, like always with these Solstice weapons, we have Dream Work as our first origin trait. Once per reload, assists or assisted final blows partially refills the weapon from the reserves and increase reload for a short duration. Nothing too crazy about this. Definitely not as bad on something like a hand cannon here for the PvE PvP realm, so not too shabby in my personal opinion, but I'll use its second one probably more. That second one is Nadir Focus. We have sustained fire, increases accuracy and range on this bad boy. Definitely a super solid perk, since with this we have already pretty solid range, but getting to stack even higher definitely feels really good, especially inside of that crucible. So when we talk about PvE for our masterwork, gonna go with reload because it is pretty slow as a 120, but for our barrel, going with that small bore gives us +7 in stability, +7 to range, gives us a nice middle of the lane for our range and stability on this bad boy, 65 and about 55. So definitely would go with the barrel for this one. Two options for y'all for magazines. First one is the tactical mag right here. Get 1 in the magazine, 10 to reload, 10 to stability. Very solid perk, what I would go with as my god roll for PvE, but we do have appended mag as well. So as you can see, this appended mag only gives us +2 in the magazine instead of +1, but we lose that reload as well as that stability, so that's why appended would be my second choice and tactical as my first. Now we got a couple options for the PvE realm. For our third column, Demolitionist is a very good one. Kills with the weapon, generate grenade energy. When we throw our grenade, we also get to reload this weapon, so definitely a good staple for the PvE realm. I do like this, especially since we have Headstone in the fourth column. Got a little synergy of creating a bunch of stasis with this weapon. Second option for y'all is Subsistence. Both very good. Definitely interchangeable would be my first two choices, Demo and Subsistence, but defeating targets gives us a little bit of a reload on those defeats, so definitely a good staple again for the PvE realm. Feels a little bit better on something like an auto or an SMG in my opinion, but definitely not too shabby as well on this hand cannon, like I said, especially since we got something like Headstone in the fourth column. Feeding Frenzy is the last option for the third column right here. Each rapid kill with this weapon progressively increases the reload speed for a short time. You can see the community research below, but it is a very good PvE stat. Like I said, I think I like a Demo as well as Subsistence a little bit better than Feeding Frenzy, but very good options right here. Moving on to the fourth column, this is my #1 choice. I really like Headstone as a perk, and on this hand cannon does feel very good. We create that stasis crystals, so this with Subsistence or Demo feels very good, especially if you're using stasis grenade, something like that. You can get a lot of freeze, a lot of stasis crystals going around, so definitely a beautiful little synergy. Wellspring is another option that we got on this bad boy. It gives us that ability energy when we get defeats divided amongst our uncharged abilities, so it helps with that ability spam, but it definitely would throw this towards the bottom of the list just because definitely feels better on something like auto rifles. Again, that I feel like you're getting a little bit more defeat since you have a bigger magazine, especially in some of that end game content, but this thing as the 120 does feel pretty solid. Frenzy is another option right here. We get that nice 15% damage increase across the board. Well, we also get 100 reload, which is super good on this 120, so very good perk for both PvP PvE side of things, and this would, like I said, be a blanket 15% across all enemies instead of like the Vorpal weapon, which is only against those bosses, mini bosses, vehicles, stuff like that. Definitely like Frenzy better. So my last option is that explosive payload. Like I said, we do have Vorpal, but I would choose Frenzy over Vorpal any day on this weapon, but explosive payload definitely a very good option as well in my opinion. We get that split damage on the weapon hit, a little bit of AoE, and then the actual direct impact, so nice a little perk in my personal opinion. I think I like this a little bit better in PvP than PvE, especially since we got Headstone and Frenzy in this column to back it up. I would go with either of those over this bad boy right here, but not a bad bad weapon for the PvE realm. Would give it a 4.4 out of 5 for everything. Definitely like this weapon for PvE, especially with those hand cannons, and we got that overload potential this season. Definitely like using it. Now when we move on to PvP, definitely 120s in my opinion still running supreme compared to most other hand cannons. Some 140s keep up, but overall 120s are pretty disgusting, and this thing, it definitely keeps up that trend. We're going to use small bore as our barrel with, in my opinion, range as our masterwork to really get that nice juicy range on this bad boy. Able to dap up guardians at 85 on this with a recoil direction at 98, so it has very little bounce straight up, and it just daps people up at far away. Second column would definitely go with accurized for your magazine. We get that plus 10 to range, like I said, stacking this bad boy out to 85 in our range and about 40 on stability with a 98 recoil direction. It does feel pretty disgusting inside of the Crucible. Third column, got a couple options. I'm going to go with 3 for you guys. There's a couple more that you could throw on, but these are my top 3. Rapid hit is probably my #1 choice. A rapid precision hits temporarily increases stability and reload on this bad boy. Definitely what I go with for hand cannons, because most of the time I feel like even if you are hitting a body shot, it doesn't happen too often, at least. So I like the rapid hit on this bad boy, especially with one of the perks we have in the 4th column in precision instrument. Second option is 2 pain. Well, this weapon is equipped, taking damage increases handling aim assist until it's stowed. So again, very good PvP perk to use, especially with the handling on this bad boy is a little bit lower than I would like. So having that increase does feel very, very good. Now, little sleeper and last option in the 3rd column, elemental capacitor, gives us a bunch of different options for increases depending on the subclass that we are using. Me personally really like Arc, Void, or that Stasis feels the best. Not really digging that 20 in airborne effectiveness. You can kind of feel that, if you will. Also, the 50 reload, definitely more on the PvE side than PvP, but really any of these inside of the PvP realm does feel kind of nice. I just like Arc, Void, or Stasis better. Moving on to our 4th column, got a couple options. Again, I think #1 is this precision instrument. Pairs perfect with rapid hit. We get dealing sustained damage, increases precision damage. So when you're getting those shots, definitely feels very, very good. And we can get it up to 25% in that damage increase. So would be my #1 choice for the Crucible. #2 choice is the explosive payload. We get that AoE, definitely disgusting inside of the Crucible. One of my favorite perks in general. Sometimes you won't be able to get that 2-tap like some of the other 120s, but in general this is definitely the way to go, unless you're using something like kill clip. Obviously on this thing you're going to be able to get it, but explosive payload, from what I hear, doesn't allow you to do some things like that. But I personally think it's one of the best PvP perks to have on something like a hand cannon. Now, last option for me is frenzy. Like I said, we do got kill clip on this, but you have to be slaying out for that to get procced consistently, and then you can start to 2-tap people. But frenzy, in my opinion, with that plus 15% damage increase by being in combat, as well as 100 handling and 100 reload, is pretty disgusting to swap on and off of this with this and your shotgun, as well as having that reload at 100 feels so gross in my opinion. So frenzy is definitely probably the alternate for my explosive payload. Precision instrument is still #1, but then explosive and frenzy are interchangeable at #2. Feels very crispy inside of the Crucible. Like I said, keeps that 120 range, just keeps on going, if you will, inside of the Crucible. So I'm gonna give it, again, probably like a 4.5, 4.6 out of 5 for the Crucible. Would definitely suggest grinding this out with our Solstice event, doing those bonfire bashes that we have been doing for the past couple years. Just so much loot this year, I feel like, at least in our weapons. So definitely would be grinding those out for your god rolls. But again, I appreciate all you guys for coming back to the channel. It means a lot to me, means a lot to the channel. If you guys don't mind, like and subscribe, helps me out, helps the channel out a bunch. Plus you guys will get those notifications if you hit the bell, so you don't miss out on any of these god roll guides as well as our builds. So again, appreciate all you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.